record on this. Hi, my name's Thirza Cuthand. I'm Nehiyah from Little Pine First Nation in Saskatchewan. I currently live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I am the director and writer of Kwêskosîw, She Whistles.
Hi, I'm Sera-Lys McArthur. I am Nakota. I'm also from Saskatchewan, and I split my time between Toronto and New York City. And I am the producer and the lead actor in the short film Kwêskosîw, She Whistles.
Yeah, so this film's really important to us. It started out as a feature script that I was working on about murdered and missing Indigenous women and Two-Spirit people. And I had been working on it as like a university project, as like my thesis project. And then I was, after university was over, I was pitching it at a festival, and I came across Sera-Lys McArthur, who read part of it and expressed interest in working with me. So that's how we
Yeah.
met.
Yeah, so it was funny. We actually never crossed paths until we both were living in Toronto for a number of years. And I got asked to do a reading of there's a script for a script competition at this film festival. And I was really intrigued by the work because I also am very interested in exploring the very unfortunate societal phenomenon of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people that seems to be plaguing our society. And I'm also a big genre fan, and I had never seen anyone approach this subject matter with a supernatural genre element to it as well. So I was very intrigued. Also, the story is set in our home province of Saskatchewan, so that I also found that to be a bit kismet. So, and then Thirza won the script competition, and I just thought there's got to be a way to get this film made. So I've been along for the ride, helping her in every way I can. We've been working with a executive producer at Darius Films named Leah Johnsons, who's been helping us with the script development for a number of years. And then a couple of years ago, we were invited to bring Thirza's script and pitch it at Imagine Native Film Festival in Toronto as part of the Indigenous Futures Forum. Do you want to tell them a little more about that, Thirza?
Yeah, so I mean, we were pitching to a room full of like executives and like people who like they couldn't guarantee you funding, but they like, had access to funds and resources and things. And it was the first time we kind of like unveiled it as like an actual like project that was going to become something. And I don't know, I think it started like some buzz that helped us later on when we got a chance to apply to the Harold Greenberg Fund for funding to make a calling card short, because I had we've been getting development funding through telefilm, but to do a feature they need the director to have directed 10 minutes of like drama with like actors and stuff. And I've mostly done experimental short films, so so like over 20 years of doing short films, but never really directed actors at the scale of this film. So we applied and we got funding for it.
Yeah, so that was a really awesome stepping stone. And we needed to just figure out how we were going to distill this very, it's a feature length script into a calling card that represented the genre and the story, but without having to really layer in so much of the feature that it would be it wouldn't be able to fit into a short film. And so what we came up with, working with Leah helping us with the conceptualize it, and Thirza and I, and we were trying to come up with a way that we could still explore MMIW in a supernatural context, but also have it stand alone and without having to go into too much backstory. So we came up with something that both Thirza and I have in common in our cultural lore back in our home territories, and that has to do with the Northern Lights. Do you want to tell them about what your people say?
Yeah, so in my culture, you're not supposed to whistle at the Northern Lights because it's the ancestors and they'll come down, and some people say they'll take you away. And other cultures, you're not supposed to look at them, or you're supposed to go inside and like leave them to like quietly. Because some people say they're dancing, and then some people say there's other things going on. What do they say to you?
I think because we're from similar regions, like I grew up with the same story. It was that they would come and take you away if you whistled at them, that it would be like teasing them or taunting them. And it was disrespectful, and who they are supposed to be your ancestors, or the spiritual old ones in the spiritual realm, people or beings you definitely don't want to get mad at you, right? So it was it was one of those kind of universal things. It's very common in other indigenous cultures, especially, that you're not supposed to whistle at the Northern Lights. I heard from my friend Lauren Cardinal, who's he's Woodlands Cree, I believe. He said that he was told that your head would turn into a wolf head. Yeah, so I've heard a lot of different versions. And then further south, where they don't have Northern Lights, they're just told don't whistle at nighttime. And it's kind of the same idea, like you don't want to taunt the spirits that are out at nighttime to come and do something not so good.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too in this film is it's like, I mean, this main character, Stephanie's been raised with that taboo also. And she just gets her, like, she ends up in a situation where she feels like, like maybe this is a good idea actually, because I don't have other options.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, what does that really mean? And what do we hope would happen? And then we kind of have our own interpretation, which you guys are going to see what that is
Mm.
soon.
Yeah, and the short also deals with like something real that's going on in Saskatchewan and in Manitoba and probably other places too, where
Yeah, definitely.
cab drivers have been like kind of getting Indigenous women in their cabs and then taking them out of the city. And there's been reports on like Facebook of this happening, and there's been reports of like assaults by cab drivers that have been in the media and stuff. And so it's an ongoing problem. And yeah, so it was something I was thinking a lot about when I wrote the feature and then what became the short.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I think affects a lot of people when they're trying to get home safe at nighttime. You think you're going to make the right choice and do the safe thing and hire a cab to get you home. But sometimes that's not always the safest thing. And it does, overtly affect Indigenous women where we're from. But I think it affects a lot of women and female identifying people, or just vulnerable, like people that are alone, trying to get home at nighttime in a cab. And there certainly needs to be some more accountability and more attention. At least the media is listening now, but this is the kind of unfortunate reality that we've had to face for many, many years. And that's the other cool part about genre, right? Like this short has been described as an Indigenous horror film. And I guess it like, we didn't really set out for it to be like, oh, so scary, but it's actually something in real life that really actually is that scary. You had a quote, I think, from Tanya Tagaq that is quite
Oh,
fitting.
yeah, Tanya Tagaq said that being an Indigenous woman in Canada was like living in a horror movie. So I've always thought of that with this project, and like, because there are points where you're like with people and you realize that they don't respect you, and it's only because you're Indigenous, and that's when it gets dangerous. And that's kind of what these projects are about.
Yeah, so we hope to raise awareness for a number of issues. We also hope to, provoke thought and also hopefully entertain you. You're in for a wild ride, and we're so grateful to Native Spirit for showing our film in an actual screening in London. We wish we could be there, but hopefully, next time we actually will be able to.
Yeah, yeah. And also thanks, to the cast, like Sera-Lys is the main character. So thanks to Sera-Lys and thanks to Aiden
Welcome.
Devine and
Yes.
thanks to, like all the people who were, we had a lot of help making
We
this.
did. We had about a 40-person crew, and we couldn't have done it without every single one of them. And we're so grateful that they came out during COVID to help us make this short film that they were not getting paid enough money to, and stay up all night, 2 nights in a row. And we're really excited that it's been getting such a great response. We hope you
Yeah,
enjoy it.
thanks.
Thank you.